personally from Loco Doco that he feels the same way. It is a common opinion running around the pro community here. And I had to say, before tonight, I didn't see it. But tonight, I'm seeing it.
So is it real, or is it all just a trick? Do they have everybody fooled?
It could be some crazy mind game,
That'd be amazing.
It would be amazing.
Well, we'll find out, I would think, sooner rather than later. Game number 3, CTU on the blue side, MVP Ozone on purple side.
And they're dropping that first ban right there due to their violation.
Yep. So second ban already going over to CTU.
So taking out Zach, and of course,
Zed
making a name for himself. Zach and Zed, 2 champions that were critical to their win in the finals of Champions Spring.
There's that Gragas ban against Mimo one more time.
He's very dangerous on that champion, and Thresh also going down, so they're not going to be first picking it. And no Thresh tonight.
Nope, it's a Threshless evening.
Threshless evening.
Not quite the Threshless Thresh patch, but Threshless nighttime evening. Post-dinner matches, and Twitch will be the second ban. So it looks like Elise may be the first pick, and with Twitch not on the board, I think that would be a fine choice. However, that does leave Vayne open.
And Shen as well.
And Shen as well, yeah.
So this Elise pick, though, probably valuable just to keep it out of Dandy's hands. Dandy has had some pretty stellar jungle Elise games.
He really has. That is true.
Over the past couple of seasons, and the amount of early game pressure he can put on lanes with that champ is very, very high.
Yeah, so CTU will go ahead and pick up Elise, and MVP Ozone thinking about Shen and Lee Sin.
They're going to take these champions, especially with Zach banned. That Shen is going to have a lot easier time in the laning phase.
If one of them wore the other one's headgear, they wouldn't be able to like see, smell, or speak.
It's a perfect
sensory completely covering the face
deprivation costume.
That's right.
CTU grabbing Vayne for Rearus this time.
Oh yeah.
So we did see him pull out his Vayne skills in the last game, and Rearus getting an opportunity to do the same this time around.
And are we going to see a Kog'Maw on him? I would imagine Caitlyn would be the safer pickup if they just want to end the series here, which I would imagine they do. Caitlyn, Sona, perfectly fine.
Very standard from MVP Ozone. Still could be going any direction with this. Again, as we talked about at the beginning of the cast, a lot of the strategies from MVP Ozone revolve around Dade's picks.
Yeah.
Because Dade has such a broad champion pool that what he plays determines a lot about the tempo of the game.
Camera shadow makes it look like he has a goatee.
Mata. Of course, the main shot caller on MVP Ozone, if you guys were unaware.
That's right.
Oh, CTU.
Mata would look good in a goatee. He could pull that off.
He could.
Yeah.
So CTU has to reveal the rest of their hand right here as to what they're planning. Now, they could be going for a Vayne Elise split push, but instead they're going full board team fighting.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is No Named is known for his Jax play. Wants to have a chance to show it, and maybe Kha'Zix for Dade. We'll see.
Kha'Zix without AoE for resets is another strange pick. And especially because we don't see Kha'Zix that often. Now there are, Kha'Zix is still strong, especially if you don't want to get the resets. And there we go, TF. So double global, this is a much stronger composition all around. You have good poke with Caitlyn and TF. You can come in at any time with that Shen as well. So very versatile composition coming out here from MVP Ozone.
Yeah, and it looks like Ozone just wants to try to end it. They're like, all right, well, we've had our fun. Time to just finish this up. They've got a chance to go 3-0. They want to take it. CTU, though, strong team fighting team.
They have to get there, though, and with the double globals and how effective MVP Ozone has been at getting kills in the early game, there's going to be a pretty nice timing for MVP Ozone to apply that early pressure and run away with the snowballs.
It's not going to be easy. In the top lane, Oman Shen, No Named, gets to play his favorite, Jax.
And that Jax has to get farmed up.
Yep.
So maybe a bit problematic if he has to deal with Dade's TF in his lane all the time.
It's a very good point. In the jungle, we have Dandy on Lee Sin. Raccoon playing Elise this time around. Adjusting his glasses so he can see who dies next. Down in the mid lane, Dade on Twisted Fate and Mima on Lissandra. I like the Lissandra picks. I mean, didn't work out for Mima last time, but she's a really cool champion. Hope we see a lot more of her at AD. Imp on Caitlyn, Riris on Vayne, his last chance to get a pentakill. He already got one. Can he make it 2 on the season? Doing it right in Imp's face would be the best time to get a Vayne pentakill for him. Support, Mod on Sona, Wolf on Zyra. And that is the lineup for game number 3. What could be the final game for CTU? Looks like No Name not quite connecting to the game yet, so we may have a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, coming in here too, it's all going to be for MVP Ozone. They need to be able to take an advantage here from about like 8 to 15 minutes. They've got a really good timing window because of their double globals, while Jax is still trying to ramp up. But they will also have some opportunities, maybe a little bit later too, because if they can take early towers, No Name, of course, is going to try and freeze the lane deep at second turret and farm up to get Jax very powerful in the late game, because that's, of course, where Jax typically shines. But with TF and Lee Sin and Shen able to come in deep into the lane from very far away, they may be able to pick him off, stop that ramp up, and we know that MVP Ozone is quite good at this kind of strategy because we saw them use it against Blaze in the finals of Champions Spring.
Oh, they're quite good. There we go, No Name loading in now, so we should be able to get into the game. Shouldn't need to restart ideally. Cross our fingers. The crowd is pumped, guys. Here we go. Game number 3, the last chance for CTU. Can they do it, or will Ozone punch their ticket to the semis right here? All right, guys, welcome to Summoner's Rift. CTU versus MVP Ozone in a battle for survival here in game number 3 of this quarterfinal match. Thanks for watching. Don Monte Cristo casting free from Seoul, South Korea. Oh, the ward lives. That Spiderling is like, no, I'll save it. Well, that Spiderling taking a long way around, and Home just kills it, crushes it like a bug. Although technically they're arachnids.
Well, it's all the same to Shen when his sword's there.
It's true. He reaches over his shoulder, pulls out that sword, stabs it, and then immediately puts the sword back into his shoulder sheath.
So CTU here, I'm curious as to what this cloth armor means on Mima. Whether he's afraid of auto-harass from Dade, or whether he thinks there may be the possibility of a Caitlyn Sona mid lane, or whether he'll be going into a side lane.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of reasons why he would be a little bit nervous going into whatever lane he ends up in, so just trying to play it cautiously.
So CTU here, they do have the possibility, given the generally longer range of MVP Ozone, of losing those early turrets, especially due to the fact that MVP Ozone has those double globals. So once we have Alm and Dade hit 6, there's a strong possibility that they'll 4 or 5 man a lane and take a quick tower. And at that point, No Name will have that opportunity to freeze that lane deep, start to farm up. But MVP Ozone, this is a strategy that they faced against Blaze and perfectly countered in the Champions Spring Final.
Yeah.
And they've got the kind of champions that they'll be able to do it again. It'll be Dandy, Dade, and Ohm's job to deal with that while Imp and Mata put some pressure on another lane and take some turrets. And here we go, Dade finds himself into the 2v1, so Mima taking that early blue, there we go, and he will be going into a 1v2 by himself with the blue buff, so that is the reason behind the cloth armor.
All right, well, Lissandra can be a pretty mana-intensive champion in the early levels, so not a bad idea at all. Looks like they will maybe get that red buff. Oh, Raccoon in a little bit of trouble here, has to use his flash. Dandy used his smite, he did, oh, actually, no. Raccoon did get his red buff. He got it from the other side, though, so Dandy managed to steal his own red buff, but it wasn't his red buff, sort of. Either way, they both ended up with red buffs. That's good enough.
They did indeed, and I don't think that Raccoon expected him to be there.
No, I don't think so.
Didn't see him in that bottom lane, but a little bit of a risky face check there on the brush.
Oh, and Imp actually going to 1v1 Mima in the top lane for a while. Interesting.
Well, they don't want that fast turret to go down,
Yeah.
and so they're confident given Caitlyn's range early, and because Mima won't be able to lock him up pre-6, they think the best thing to do is just to go ahead and give Dade that support so he can farm somewhat effectively.
I think this is just an obvious sign that MVP Ozone's going to kick it old school and go ADTF.
Ha!
It's going to happen.
I miss the days of ADTF. But
You
yeah,
have some stories about original TF.
well,
Been
more like
terrifying.
horror stories, I would say.
That's right. Oh, Counter-Strike. Oh, they do get home. Home taking some pretty heavy damage from No Name. And No Name, this is what he wanted. He wanted this 1v1 with Jax versus Home all night long. He's getting it now.
So CTU, of course, with a lot of that CC in the late game that they're going to be trying to lock up MVP Ozone with. The AoE stuns pretty significant here. And so again, CTU picking a rather late game team composition like they did in game 2, but they couldn't quite pull it off. They hemorrhaged too many objectives,
Yep.
and they just seemed totally outclassed by MVP Ozone tonight.
Dandy thinking a recall, and looks like he probably will, yeah, as Mima's not quite getting out far enough. And the ping went down on the ward as well, too, so Ozone knew that was warded. Dandy picking up some wards of his own.
Nope.
Whoa, that roots could have been pretty bad for Dade if that would have actually connected.
And they are concerned about that, of course, because one route, because of TF, not having any escape mechanisms besides Flash, this is a dangerous lane for Twisted Fate to go against early on, given the long range of those grasping roots. Raccoon.
Man, Raccoon just all over in the enemy jungle, trying to do his best Dandy impression.
Yeah, Dandy trying something different this game. He's focused more on clearing out his own jungle and leveling this time around with those razors while still placing a good amount of wards on the map, but not being quite so aggressive with them. Doesn't want to face this Elise with the early Doran's Blade of the jungle, which I think is quite clearly a good decision. The itemization favoring Raccoon this game, and both of these champions, some of the strongest duelists early on.
That said, Dandy is a level up on Raccoon right now. Raccoon coming in, yeah, he's going to just repel away. He's lost a lot of time.
Dandy's able to clear faster thanks to the machete, so. And he will successfully follow Raccoon and stuff the gank without being there, which has always been one of Dandy's specialties, is his ability to either scare away enemy junglers from ganking or just kill them when they try that gank. Again, we call him a counter jungler.
That's what he does. All right, well, don't know if they can quite see that normal ward with the vision ward, but either way, a little bit of a lull in the action here in the early game. All teams kind of just doing their early farming.
Well, we don't really expect to see fireworks before 6 from MVP Ozone unless Dandy thought he had a particularly good opportunity, but with his build, not even having boots tells you he's just looking to farm and get big so that he can have perhaps that level advantage by the time, or an item advantage as well with the gold, by the time the real ganks start coming down with the globals from TF and Shen.
True enough.
In the meantime, of course, CTU not going for that early aggression. Raccoon not able to get a gank with his early Doran's Blade. And Vayne and Jax naturally wanting to farm up.
Makes sense. Well,
switching it up there, he was having a bit of a hard time against that Jax in lane. So he does rotate up to top, and instead, Mima now coming down. Trying to be against this TF. Dade not quite 6 yet, and they do move into mid. Actually a bit of a surprise, just because Dade has hit 6 now, and generally that's when you see the TF return to mid lane so that he can put pressure on both top and bottom. But again, they're very much respecting Rearus and Wolf.
Yeah. Dandy thinking about coming down to sides differently. Raccoon was there, so it ended up being good. And Dade is going to go ahead and claim his blue buff, looks like. Yep. They'll go ahead and give that over to him for his 1v1 versus Mima.
So Raccoon being very patient here, and they know that they have a good opportunity to all in on Dade, given the amount of CC between Lysandra and Elise.
Yeah.
And they're not giving too much of a tell either, just because they're shoving the lane so hard, but they haven't seen Raccoon in quite some time.
And there's Dade. He's down here. And Mima able to do some damage to that turret, but she'll get dueled by a TF at this point pretty easily. He does have that tome at that point. Gets a little bit extra AP, and that makes a difference. Imp pushing this mid lane pretty aggressively.
Yeah, and this says a lot too, with that amplifying tome that you bring up on Dade. That does look like, of course, it will be that Sheen and probably Lichbane first build. So
yeah.
MVP Ozone may be opting for a strategy revolving around the fast pushing of these turrets with a Lichbane TF and the long range of the Caitlyn, with the simultaneous pressure of Shen. So potentially that 3-1-1 split push with
now,
Dandy providing an additional layer of danger for CTU as he moves from lane to lane.
Mima lurking in the bushes there, could come in for an attempt to the gank. There's the E coming across the wall, gets close enough, hits Imp with the ult. Imp locked down, doesn't take a lot of damage. Stand United comes in from home. Ace in the hole, takes a big chunk out of Riris.
An absolutely immaculate cleanse used there by Riris. The instant the gold card hit him, he immediately cleansed it. So not even breaking stride, absolutely perfect timing.
It's like a Captain Jack cleanse there.
It did, absolutely. That's the first thing that came into my mind too, Doa.
Well, I'm glad we're thinking the same thing, Monte Cristo. Oh, Dragon time. MVP Ozone trying to go for it. Doing a little bit of zoning. Raccoon gets taunted, gets locked up, and they're going to get him for the first blood and the dragon on top of that. And suddenly a 3K gold lead for Ozone.
Well, No Name probably will be able to take the turret. Raccoon definitely out of position right there, way too far in advance, especially since he got caught between Shen and the rest of MVP Ozone.
Yep.
But will they be able to take a turret for it? No Name still hammering, but the turret may not be able to go down on this next wave. Alm comes back up.
Yep. And No Name gonna do a little bit of damage to him with the opportunity.
And that's the advantage of double globals, is even if we do have that failed attempt, or you have to use that Shen ult defensively, you can take a turret, you can take that dragon right afterwards, and the fact that they didn't lose any objectives whatsoever, impressive.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Yeah, and I mean, it seems like CTU has been the same story all night, you know, have had a pretty solid laning phase early on, and then when the team maneuvering starts happening, when the movement starts happening around the map, that's when they've just been simply outplayed by Ozone every game.
Well, that's what separates teams that we see in the quarterfinals from probably those we'll be seeing in the semifinals, just
Very
because
true.
That decision-making ultimately is what matters. Once you reach a certain level of mechanical play in League of Legends, it all comes down to how smart you are at maneuvering around the map.
Yeah.
Okay, well, deciding to let No Name go back. He's like, I'm tired of dealing with you, Jackson. I want to push the lane out.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit down on farm, and he can kind of catch up in that regard as well, too. So it's a good opportunity for him. Not really down in farm at all right now, only 2.
He's also up in total gold thanks to his assist and the dragon gold that he got. So he's feeling pretty comfortable right now. He does need some more resists in order to deal with No Named, who has that phage and is going to be very irritating as he sticks to in that lane.
Well, yeah, as you said, very comfortable right now, like he's got a ninja costume made out of alpaca fur or something, which is very soft.
It is.
It is. Anybody who's had an alpaca blanket knows how soft alpacas can be.
Truly delightful.
Yeah.
Recommended.
Yeah. Oh, Dade, he's not feeling comfortable. Gets lit up, but they may be able to get Mima. Nice kick right into the queue from Lee Sin. Danny gonna pick up that one, and they're not done yet. Goodbye, Raccoon. Oh, yeah, he does get it. There's a double kill. The Zyra ultimate not saving him. And Dandy may be able to get the triple. He's going for a wolf. Can't escape. Dandy, waiting for it with the triple home. with the Stand United, apparently.
He actually, right there, No Name did them a favor because now they're not going to lose the top turret either thanks to Stand United being canceled. And Dandy, I think they were a bit concerned about the Zyra passive finishing him off.
That's a good point, yeah.
But frankly, No Name should have just let him go and taken top turret. Now he still has to deal with that full HP Shen.
Well, how about this? You know, how about he knew he was going to be countered, so he did it just long enough to put the armor on him.
Well, yeah, exactly, the shield.
Next level from these guys.
But it was a gamble there.
Yeah, totally.
And it relied on No Name decision, which did not prove to be the best.
Well, it's a good thing they've got the card player on their team then.
Wow, that was a hell of a play from Dandy, though.
No kidding. We've seen some amazing stuff from Danny, and there's an amazing crescendo right at the very edge of the range, locking up Raccoon. He's had a rough game, 1-3-0 so far.
And they will, in fact, reverse the pressure thanks to that rotation. And with
they're
going to catch Riris.
Coming in onto Riris. Immediately cleanses that gold card, but it's not going to help him this time. And wow, they're actually going after Wolf again as well. No Name now the focus. Mata in a little bit of trouble. Imp comes down. No Name does some damage. They do manage to get the kill onto the support, but they're going to lose their support as well.
You know, Dahl, before the game, we talked about this timing window that was very crucial when MVP Ozone, thanks to the power of their globals, would have a big power spike before Jax and Vayne really got farmed up. Of course, we're seeing, right, exactly. We're seeing that precise timing here. And because the reason why this happens, of course, the global presence, but Jax and Vayne are item-dependent champions, and to a degree, Lissandra as well. Let's take a look at that tower dive again. So Raccoon and Mima feeling very confident. Safeguard goes in. Dade dies, but look at that follow-up with the Q on the Mima after the kick. Raccoon goes a bit too deep, finds himself between a rock and a hard place right there. The exhaust, the Zyra ult also going down. Is it enough to save him? No. Here comes the Sonic Wave resonating strike. Boom, slowing him down. And there we go, the kill.
It's actually amazing that he got that Sonic Wave around the minion wave too, just barely brushing by the outside of him. Super accurate from Dandy.
And this isn't the first time we've seen Dandy make plays like this either. That's why he draws the Lee Sin bans.
I mean, what we are seeing this game, this series, is that every single member of MVP Ozone is really, really good. They are a championship team for a reason.
Okay, well, the Lichbane now finished on Twisted Fate, and a massive, absolutely massive gold lead for MVP Ozone. They're going to continue to use these globals. And as I was saying, that's when you have the advantage. To break it down, CTU, Jax, Vayne, and Lissandra are item-dependent champions. MVP Ozone, the power is in their mobility and the fact that they can turn situations, thanks to their ultimates due to levels, into 5v3, 4v3, whatever situations where they have a numerical advantage in terms of champions. And so when they're able to hit this early power spike, that's when they have the advantage, and they, boy, have they taken advantage of it.
Raccoon gets caught up, the TFL coming in as well. Everybody wants a piece of Raccoon.
Joe, this is much more like the MVP Ozone we're used to seeing. I'm glad that this is the final game tonight, because they really did have me concerned for a little bit, but they are looking razor sharp now.
It's all part of the plan, just like the Joker said. And probably other people too. All right, Home. Home still can't quite 1v1 No Name, but he doesn't need to.
No, he just has to make sure the tower doesn't go down. Dandy forced to back out with the Sightstone. Ward jumping over the wall.
I thought he said he didn't want the tower to go Dandy for a second. I'm like, what? It's a bit odd to say, Monte Cristo. But I get what you're saying now. It's okay.
We didn't want that tower to dress too fashionably.
That's right. That's right. We need turret skins, don't we?
That would actually be great. I love it.
I think it's okay. Maybe seasonal ones.
Extending a bit here. He's trying to keep that wave pushed out.
He's really just keeping No Name from going back and buying.
Oh, Raccoon moving up into that top lane now. No Name still unclear about his ability to take down Home.
Home a little bit slowed here. No Named. Can't chase him through the wall. Now without that leap strike.
So cautious in that instance from No Name, where he's been pretty aggressive so far this game.
He's just rattled, man. I feel like the nerves are really hitting these guys. You can't blame him. Nima misses, does W there. Didn't know the Wraiths were gone. And the blue Wraith, the leader of the Rude Dudes, taken by Dandy himself.
They are demoralized after you kill him.
They are. They look very demoralized.
Well,
Come the CTU dudes.
The gold card loaded up.
It is. And it will expire. Oh, Lysandra, never change.
Korean Lysandra.
Korean Lysandra, best Lysandra.
I'm sure you guys at home are appreciating, considering most of you play probably on the English client.
Oh, yeah. Man, I don't even remember what the voices on the English client sound like anymore.
You know what's funny is when champions come out in Korea, I actually don't know what they sound like in their English voices.
I don't think I've ever heard like Lysandra in the English client.
I haven't either.
Yeah. Huh.
I've heard her cries in VODs though, so I know that's different.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right. Whoop. Escapes. Cocoon.
And Dade going to be finishing up that death cap soon for the ultimate burst there, as well as tower pushing potential. And MVP Ozone is just running amok right now through the jungle, warding very nicely.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, Dandy.
The Wraith Wars have been pretty serious in this series, but look how fast Dade is able to melt this turret.
Goodbye.
It's only going to get worse once he gets that death cap.
I know, and he's got to be very close. In fact, I would imagine he's going back to pick it up right now.
I'm getting into a good place too, where he'll be able to outlast No Name's Jax right there. You can see they're actually trading evenly now.
Yeah, maybe even a little bit in Ohm's favor.
But you see, actually, Ohm does have about a 1,500 gold lead on his opponent right now, and it's taken that gold lead.
Dandy coming in, and there's TF. They're going to scare him as well. Oh, there we go. Kicks him right into home, right into the taunt, and No Name just doesn't have a chance.
Beautiful play right there. You notice where Dade decided to port in. Dandy was saying, great communication. I'm going to kick him. I'm going to kick him back.
Yep.
And so, and Dandy comes in and steals it with the smite.
Wow. Bilbo Baggins he's got to worry somebody else wants the burglar title in this game.
Okay, Imp trying to follow up right now. And look at this 10K gold advantage. CTU is getting absolutely demolished.
It's pretty brutal. And I feel like this is like MVP Ozone has been holding back all series. You're like, all right, now we will give you a taste of our true power.
They decided to swap hands, so the mouse went into the left hand for the first part of this series.
I feel like it was a really hard time for No Name because he gets kicked in the face, right? Launched backwards, and then he gets immediately taunted by Shen. So it's like getting kicked, and then the first thing you see when you come out of it is this ninja standing in front of you and be like, hey, you're terrible. It's like, what? And then you die.
And then a man appears behind you and throws a card at you.
You get a card in the forehead.
And then you get shot with a gun. It's just real bad.
It's really bad for Jax, guys. I don't know. I mean, if you have like we'll like distribute his address after the show so you can send him a care package because he's had a rough time. Oh, warping time and space here for a moment. Wow.
Now, they aren't going to be able to get this turret. Imp easily clearing it out with the Peacemaker, and CTU doing all they can, but they just are getting mercilessly shoved in and outmaneuvered, and nowhere is safe too, because now CTU has to overextend in all their lanes, and overextending against Twisted Fate and Shen is never a fun prospect to be in because TF will just come in behind, Shen will ride him in.
Oh, the ultimate actually goes for No Name. He's trying to go all in at home. He may get the kill. A little bit of revenge. Is he getting it? Yeah. He finishes off that ninja. He gets out. Meanwhile, Riris. And, oh, nice ult, but the crescendo coming in immediately. They melt Mata. But here we go. They're not done yet. Dandy and Dade coming in. Goodbye, Wolf. Raccoon in trouble now. Mima, TF coming behind him, tries to flash over the Baron pit. And he's not going to get out of there. No, he will. Nice W on Dandy, but I think the Q is stronger than the W. It's a war of letters. Whoa! Oops. Nice port from Mima.
He picked the wrong direction to send his Q in right there, so Mima with the juke in order to make it out okay, but
Yep.
you have to ask.
Oh, hey, it's Vayne, and she's dead.
You have to ask, what did that actually accomplish? No objectives right there. In the meantime, MVP Ozone simply responds with the dragon. And we see
much.
that exact same deficit. So a good engage by CTU, but if you can't convert it into actual global gold when you're this far behind, it is pretty much meaningless.
Well, we're at that, sub 30-minute, 10,000 gold lead yet again for MVP Ozone. Raccoon, he's like, all right, yeah, you're right. You've had the red buff for so long. Go ahead and take it this time. It's all yours.
Yeah, they did get that top turret. They bought time for No Name, but it's just an ugly situation for CTU to be in.
Yes, it is.
But No Name he's really coming along. He's got that Trinity Force now and the Hex Drinker.
He's starting to do a lot of damage. I mean, playing the carry top laner isn't something that he hasn't done before. He's not unfamiliar with the concept.
And interestingly too, even though they have picked on No Name some, MVP Ozone is spread out where they're creating the plays on the map.
Yeah.
And so they haven't really made a specific focus on the No Names, and that may be dangerous in just a little bit here. Odds are they will not be able to overcome this deficit, but you can never count out a late game Jax.
Yeah. We've all seen that.
Especially with a Vayne there as well. That's a pretty powerful 1-2 late game combo.
Yeah. CTU trying to maybe get a pick or two. They're going to settle for that blue buff. Giving that over to Mima. And MVP Ozone in that mid lane. Yeah, they're going to get scared away there.
They can't split push like this though, because TF can't cover most of the map if he's in that bottom lane.
Yeah, he needs to be in the mid lane.
They really do have to only 4-1 split push in this instance, because you can't push in a side lane very effectively with Lee Sin, Caitlyn, and Sona.
Yeah.
But you also can't push in a side lane very effectively with Lee Sin when you have a Shen all the way on the other side of the map. Which is why we see them coming together here after TF just clears out the wave close to his tower, and then they resume a more tightly packed position on the map.
Makes sense.
But it's impressive that No Name, in spite of having even farm with Shen, and the fact that Shen is massively up in terms of gold, is still able to outduel and get those 1v1 kills. Just shows how scary No Name is getting.
Yeah, I mean, Jax is his champion, and he's pretty good on him. We've seen it before. We've seen him basically win games on Jax in some of their earlier group stage games. So he's got that chance. But like you said, it's really all about that deficit. They're 11,000 gold behind right now. Can even the most farmed Jax come back from that?
If he can get a kill and then come and get a team fight afterwards, there is a possibility.
Yeah.
CTU, with good Baron control, may be able to sneak one out here as well, considering how much damage their composition has and the fact that they've got a Vayne with Blade of the Ruin King. So that's a danger that MVP Ozone has to consider also.
Yeah, this will be.
It's going to be hard. It is not, however, impossible for them to come back in spite of this gold difference, because MVP Ozone isn't making plays right now. It's not increasing. They're not getting more map pressure. In fact, they're losing it. While they used to have a pretty deep push, you would see Alm is rotated out of the lane that No Name is in, because that's how concerned they are about this Jax.
Oh, and there's a Baron going on. CTU going for it. Dade walking right into it. No, never mind. MVP Ozone's going for the Baron. I'm retiring from casting. Goodbye, guys.
So right there. Oh. That's right, but they're going to try and contest it. No Name in the middle of everything. Yeah. This Ira ult bouncing him up.
Maybe got kicked out. Actually, Rear's doing a good amount of damage here. Vayne with one of the kills, 2 kills already for CTU. MVP Ozone, there's a double kill. And Mata getting chased out. Mima trying to finish him off. Oh, wow, it is going to be a near perfect ace, only losing Wolf. See, I was actually looking into the future where CTU gets the Baron. I'm from the future. I'm here to tell you that they get the Baron.
I mean, that was a great team fight from CTU, and that's the danger, is MVP Ozone's composition is not in their 5v5s. When you have this much CC, when you have this much damage coming out, they have to create those picks around the map with Shen and Twisted Fate, and they lose the Baron. They lose 5 members. They're going to lose 2 mid turrets, and all of a sudden, that gold lead is cut neatly in half. And you have to like CTU's chances in the late game with a 5K gold deficit.
Oh yeah, now the gold lead really doesn't mean a whole lot. And MVP Ozone getting a little bit overconfident, a little bit sloppy, looks like.
Yeah, they let this Jax maybe go a little bit too far. And we don't see a lot of Jax in Champions, so I think a lot of teams aren't used to dealing with him, and this is a no-name special. He's got this pocket Jax, but he has come back and he has put on impressive displays and won games before. Yeah. So now it comes down to MVP Ozone's guile. They're going to have to hold on, keep the waves pushed for the moment, wait for that Baron to end, and then try and regain map control and get, very importantly, vision control so they can start to use that Shen and TF to even the odds in a non-5v5 engagement.
Well, CTU, a game like this could really do a lot for the morale. This is the type of game that turns series around.
Indeed it does, and they will get an uncontested dragon.
Yeah, wow.
Thanks to how passively MVP Ozone has to play.
The map is theirs at this point.
And MVP Ozone getting frustrated too. That was actually a totally unnecessary Baron for them. They did not have to take that risk, especially against the AoE CC from Lissandra, Jax, and Zyra.
Oh, but a bit of a bait here, maybe. I don't think they're going to take it. Seeing MVP, seeing Imp and Dade there, it's a little bit too suspicious.
Yeah, Mata waiting to come across with a crescendo if they came in from the side.
Yeah.
They're still waiting for it.
I think the time is over. Or is it? Oh, man.
This is so tense right now.
Oh, if they can get a kill on Rios, it's really big.
Look how far away
so
he
patient.
is.
There it comes Mata coming in. They kick him back. TF ult coming in as well. Oh, Mata gets lit up immediately. A good Zyra ult, but Dade coming in. Sand United down onto Imp. Riris chasing away Dandy. Can they get the kill? A good Zyra ultimate. Dade on the outside. He's going to jump onto Imp. Imp back with the 90 caliber net. No name very, very low.
So
Oh,
they
wow,
do kill Mima right there, but critically Mima saved that because he ulted Mata before Mata could use Crescendo.
Yep.
And they bursted him down immediately. So even though there was a good engage, CTU wins the fight, 1 for 2, and they're going to be able to take this turret out of it as well. So, wow, this comeback is pretty epic, Doa.
Yeah, I would say so. Just one bad Baron and the entire game turns around. CTU, the fans can't give up yet.
Wow, very impressive. I also just can't stress enough, that Baron call from MVP Ozone.
Really bad idea.
Well, they were concerned. The concern was growing. Once, their logic is once they saw, well, we'll take a look at this as we go in right here. So Mata comes in, the kick back. Now look at this play on Mata, no crescendo. And then following it up with the Zhonya's Hourglass, Riris goes after Dandy. He actually over pursues Dandy right here. He could have done more damage in the main team fight. And Dandy does get killed eventually, but maybe not the best decision to chase all the way back there instead of pushing turrets a little harder. They may have actually been able to get more than one turret and maybe an inhibitor.
That's a good point.
But they're still sitting pretty. So basically, as soon as they saw how big of a lead they had, how much money, they knew how much more money Ohm had, and the fact that he was still losing in the split push to Jax, that's probably what spurred that Baron decision, because they say, uh-oh, their power is getting really, really high right now. We can no longer out-split push them. What are we going to do?
Yeah. And TFO coming down. They're going to come in, try to kick out. No, they do kick Rios out of the fight. Can they keep him out long enough? Wolf a bit low as well. Great crescendo over the top, but is it going to be enough? Gold card. Imp, Shen coming in onto him. Raccoon a little bit low. There's Ace in the hole. Mima. Oh! Riris takes it. Whoops. And now they've got them on the run. This is a turnaround that Ozone needs. This game might not be over quite yet.
This game is very close still, and that was an overcommittal by CTU. And Dade there with a very aggressive ult. I don't think CTU was quite expecting that because he ended up right next to Jax, but the CC that he put down was critical, as well as Dandy kicking Rearus out of the fight, so they cut the early game damage. Mima instead went forward, but he didn't have any dive buddies with him. So he got caught a little bit under the turret. Raccoon went too deep as well.
Let's check it out again.
Yeah, watch this ult from Dade, because the play calling here, so look at this. Kicks Rearus over the wall, stuns Jax. Meanwhile, Mima goes in while there's no damage coming out of Rearus or No Name, which allows them to kite and focus very effectively, especially with the Shen ult onto him, giving him that shield and helping him stay alive right there. Rearus finds himself at the wrong end of a Lichbane card and ace in the hole for massive damage. But really right there, it was all MVP Ozone's decision for that sort of risky, ballsy engage, sending some squishier champions into the front lines to eliminate damage.
Oh, Dandy gets ulted, maybe in a little bit of trouble here. He does punt away Rearus, taking a lot of damage. OM coming out, putting the damage onto Rearus in return. Dandy has to back up. There's the Zonias, won't save Mima. So they trade 1 for 2 there, and now CTU, I feel like they're falling apart. Whoa, that was a lot of damage from that card.
Well, that's what happens when you have a Lichbane, Zonia's Deathfire, or Deathcap.
Death-dealing.
Deathcap TF, you're going to be hitting for massive amounts of damage. So.
And Crystal's knocking over our monitors.
I'm getting excited, sorry.
Getting excited, hitting the desk.
And the voice staff coming soon as well, so Dade. Okay, well, MVP Ozone may be able to pull this one out. It's still a very close game. The gold difference not particularly meaningful here, but MVP Ozone,
Baron is back, and there's not a lot that CT can do. They're going to bait it. They're actually going to bait it. Raccoon coming in. Flash crescendo. They take out Raccoon. No problem. Imp picking up that one. And that is going to open up a possible Baron here. Mima, Rearus, they're all up again. Can they get there in time?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Coming up, no, there's no way. So the second Baron of the game goes to MVP Ozone.
Ozone, I feel like that fight, when they lost the Baron, they lost that massive team fight. That was kind of a bucket of cold water in the face for MVP Ozone. They're like, oh wow, these guys are actually really good. We can't get sloppy.
I think CTU has done a very good job of playing their composition out this game as well. They bought themselves time. They didn't lose. I mean, it looked like they were dead to rights, but they kept on farming up. And I think No Names did a great job dealing with in the 1v1, and that was a pretty big, crucial point that allowed them to close that gold gap. But it's back to 10K now.
Yeah. I mean, it is over 50,000 gold for both teams, so a lot of players have all their items that they want anyway. It's not as big of a deal at this point, but still, I mean, the objectives, the control they've taken over the map again, getting the dragon now as well.
And TF,
look at all those wards too.
Yeah, TF Dade will be getting that DFG as his final item, to increase his burst.
He'll be able to come in from behind and just absolutely evaporate Rearus.
Also has that Thornmail now. That's going to be pretty crucial for dealing with the double hyper carries of Jax and Vayne.
Yeah.
So MVP Ozone once again looking like they're in control of this game, but as we can see, CTU has such hard carry potential that they could turn it around with a slight misplay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we saw one fight do it before, one fight can do it again. MVP Ozone's going to need to be very careful.
All right, well, I'm actually surprised we don't have any GAs yet. But that's probably going to be next on the docket for No Names.
I would imagine.
And the hint of a GA coming out of Rearus at the very least as well.
Yeah.
But this is still patch 3.9, so we actually haven't changed that build path for the GA yet, which does make it slightly less desirable. That Negatron Cloak really increasing its viability because it just adds that extra defensive stat for MR, and if you're playing against this Twisted Fate, that'd be a really nice thing to have right now.
GA is going to be the new Warmogs. Everybody's going to want to buy one.
Yeah. GA is quite good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, MVP Ozone, look at this. They're still trying to set up picks.
Yeah, they don't want to take any chances, it looks like, but I mean, I guess they can. They have the good warding. They have the lane control back once again to a certain extent. No Name pushing up top now, but
Yeah, they know what's up. CTU knows what's up, though. I feel that CTU has really played significantly better this game. They played more cautiously, more intelligently.
Well, when you're down 0-2 like that, to a certain extent, if you've been so outclassed in those first few games, the pressure can be off, right? You're like, oh, well, you know, let's just do the best we can. And sometimes that's kind of what it takes to get the win.
Okay, so here we go. They have the TF in the middle to port where he needs to go. Meanwhile, they've moved that 3-man core. They've drawn all 5 members of CTU into the bottom lane. They may try and go all in here.
Yeah, they might. They still have Baron buff, and they won't for long, so this would be a good time to do it.
They're sending the Twisted Fate assassination squad of Jax and Lysandra, but
yeah,
I feel that CTU is really being too tentative right now. You can't leave that TF alone with a turret for long.
TF's going up, though, being chased away by Lysandra here a little bit. All right, some big damage getting put on that turret now by Imp. Rearus taking a hit as well. TF back in position once again. And can they defend this? Oh, coming in with the lead strike. Imp, the Sam United. Here comes TF. Come in a good crescendo disengage. Decent Zyra ultimate. But does CTU have the damage to take down Ozone? I don't think so. Not with No Name. Already gone. Rearus so low. Ohm comes in. And this is it. This is going to be the game. End the series for MVP Ozone. I don't think there's going to be any recovery from here for CTU.
No, especially with how fast they're going to kill the base with this Lichbane TF. Look at that, massive chunks being taken out of structures. And they should be able just to push all the way forward into the base for the win.
Mima, oh, the taunt barely dodged there. 2 damage dealers, Rearus and Mima. Rearus getting very, very low. Dandy gets locked up with Mima's ultimate. He's going to go ahead and zone his. Rearus on the outside with a small amount of health. They get back to the fountain, but they need to kill champions. That's what they need to do. They're losing their second Nexus turret. Imp, low health, pops the barrier, gets Mima. That's it, the second Nexus turret down. They can poke away at the Nexus at leisure. It's an ace. It's the GG, and it is going to be the semifinals for MVP Ozone.